Hey everybody, so I'm going to take a few minutes to explain what you need to do to complete Week 4 Assignment 2, Revising for Style. This assignment corresponds to a few of the lessons in the Week 4 module, eliminating ineffective writing, modifiers, and sentence combining. I will sort of give you a hint here. When you get to the part on sentence combining, though, it's very important that you have also understood the lessons on fragments and run-ons and comma splices so that you don't make those errors when you start sentence combining, right? So everything in Week 4 sort of culminates with this assignment. Make sure that you have gone through those handouts in the grammar and mechanics lessons and watched any videos that you needed to watch to make sure that you fully understood each handout. Okay? Some are a little easier to understand than others. Possibly the handout was enough. If you're still unsure though, watch the video. Right? So we're going to be covering 3 things in this assignment. You're going to be doing it as a text submission. So you're going to want to copy and paste the whole thing into the text box, and then you can go in and mark your answers. The first part is on cliches, right? So for this particular part, you will see a paragraph, right? In that paragraph are a bunch of cliches and clutter words. Both of those are covered in the Eliminating Ineffective Writing lesson, okay? Your job is to highlight or underline all of the cliches and clutter words that you find in the paragraph. There are at least 20 items that you should be able to identify, but try to identify at least 10. There's actually more than 20, but try to identify at least 10. But don't just go start underlining or highlighting anything. Make sure that you understand what a cliche is and what a clutter word is so that you are underlining or highlighting the right things, right? Okay. Part 2 of this assignment is on modifiers. So you're going to see 8 sentences listed in Part 2, and each sentence has either a misplaced modifier or a dangling modifier that needs to be fixed. Most people are able to understand misplaced modifiers pretty well, but dangling modifiers can sometimes be problematic for students. So you also want to make sure that you have gone through the lesson on modifiers before you try this part of the assignment. And again, watch the video as well if the handout isn't making things crystal clear for you. But again, each of those 8 sentences will either have a misplaced modifier or a dangling modifier. Your job is to fix it. I've given you 2 examples in the box there, right under the instructions for Part 2. The first example is an example of a misplaced modifier. So this is where we have everything we need in the sentence, it's just not placed appropriately. So the original sentence here says, they bought a puppy for my sister they called Fido. We probably understand what this sentence is supposed to say, but if you look at the actual words, what the sentence actually says is that they called the sister Fido. My sister they called Fido. That's what it says. Now we know what it actually means. What it's actually saying is that the puppy is called Fido. But that's not how it was written. The way it's written, it's telling us the sister is called Fido. So we need to simply rearrange the words so that the correct information is expressed. So the correction there, they bought a puppy they called Fido for my sister. You could have switched it up. They bought my sister a puppy they called Fido. That would have worked as well. The idea, though, is to make as little work as possible for yourself. So, just kind of flip-flopping words can be effective and efficient. All right, so don't make more work for yourself than there needs to be. Simply look at the original sentence and figure out what the problem is. I've even put the problem in bold for you to sort of draw your attention to that part of the sentence so that that can help you figure out, is this a misplaced modifier or is it a dangling modifier? And how do I fix it so that the sentence conveys the correct information? Right? The second example is an example of a dangling modifier. So remember, a dangling modifier is when we have a word or a phrase that is modifying another part of the sentence, but it turns out that that other part of the sentence that it's modifying isn't actually present in the sentence. We forgot to put it in. So in this case, our original says, unsure of where to go, the map came in handy. So unsure of where to go is our modifier. What is it modifying? Who or what was unsure of where to go? Well, a person, right? Ourselves, we, a group of us. But if you look at what comes right after the modifier, it's the map. So that means the map was unsure of where to go. But that's not right. We know that's not right. So we have to add in the noun that the modifier was supposed to go with. Since we were unsure of where to go, the map came in handy. So please make sure you understand the difference between misplaced and dangling modifiers before you try this. Right? So again, 8 sentences there. Each one has either a misplaced modifier or a dangling modifier. I have put part of the sentences in bold to draw your attention to those sections to help you try to figure it out. But your job is to fix whatever the modifier issue is, right? And the last part of this assignment is on sentence combining, okay? So what we're doing here is we're working on taking our ideas and expressing them in longer, more complex sentences instead of having shorter, choppy sentences. It's just another hallmark of higher level professional writing. But if we're taking complete sentences and trying to combine them, one of the dangers, one of the risks in that is ending up with especially run-ons and comma splices, but maybe even sentence fragments. So you need to make sure that you fully understand those first 2 lessons in order to be successful in this lesson on sentence combining. But for this section, you're going to have 3 sets of sentences, and your job is to take the important ideas from each sentence and combine them correctly in some way. And I've given you an example, of course, there in the box under the instructions. Our original set was Oscar the Grouch is a character on Sesame Street. He is green and grouchy. He lives in a trash can. And then I've given you a version of how those sentences could be combined. Oscar the Grouch is a green and grouchy character on Sesame Street who lives in a trash can. So you'll notice there's some words and prepositions and things from those original sentences that I did not have to use in my combined version. All I'm taking is the main ideas from each sentence and combining them in one single grammatically correct sentence. And that is what you're going to try to do for the 3 sets listed there. Again, you want to try to get every important idea from each sentence into one single grammatically correct sentence. If you feel like you have to use a semicolon to achieve that, you can. However, there is absolutely a way to combine all 3 sets without the use of a semicolon and without having run-ons or comma splices, and still having just one single sentence each time. So see if you can do that, okay? All right, if you have any questions or run into any problems with this assignment, please reach out to me. Otherwise, it's due Sunday at 11:59, and just do your best on it, and I will give you feedback.